if we examine a single-celled amoeba, we see that, like the human, the single-celled amoeba pulses. It has a natural formation and it pulses. If you take a pin and you prick the amoeba, then it recoils and then recovers. And if you prick it again, it recoils and then it recovers. If you prick it too many times, it will recoil and it won't recover, which means that as it pulses, the pulse is deformed. It doesn't have the integrity that it had before it spasmed into a reaction. This is also true for us and for the self, that because of our sensitivities, even before the self shows up, that our sensitivity gets triggered, and at a certain point, we recoil and we don't fully recover. We're caught in a hallucination of threat. We're caught in a fight, flight, and freeze behavior. Again, even before the self has appeared on the scene. But what happens is it alters the way that the neuromuscular system pulses. Where it originally might have pulsed with a fullness of our potential, now as it starts to pulse, the spasm takes over and the body recoils, even though there's no threat. So it's reacting to the memory of having poked by the pin. And the muscular system, the neuromuscular system, is locked into that reaction. And this becomes a part of our destiny. It becomes a part of our personality when we're an adult. So the thing about this is that because the self is a creation, we have the ability to interfere with the creation, in a sense, to work with the creation, which is the self, and to reshape it and to resculpt it. We can't fundamentally change our personality, but we don't have to. Everything that we are given at the moment of conception is enough to be able, for the self to be able to mature if we enter the struggle of what's been given to us. So that in order for us to reach our potential, there is a demand for us to interact with the reactive system, to discipline the reactive system, or what is called the false ego or the reactive ego, and to discipline it, to bring it back to a place of where it's responding to the life pulse, not reacting to the life pulse. And so even though it has been said that we might only be able to affect, I don't know what the figures are, I think I've heard 7% of our personality, that is more than enough for the self to actualize, for the self to mature, for the self to realize the fullness of its potential and to be available to something more. So that 7% or whatever it is more than enough for what we need to grow a rich life, a rich relationship with ourselves, and a rich relationship with our environment and people in our environment. So that we're not limited by what we've inherited. We're not limited by our genetic personality. It simply gives us a directional sign of, oh, this is where I need to put a little bit extra effort in. Whether you get the information from Ayurvedic science or from neurobiology or from astrology or from psychological testing, it just helps. It gives us a picture and it can show us like, oh, here's where I need to put a little bit more effort in. And that's the really important effort that we engage in that strengthens and deepens the self.